Baby cakes, you are a sugar-free jelly donut with extra sugar. History is repeating again. That's right. History. eHEX, pHEX. There is HEX from Ethereum, HEX from Pulse Chain. Everybody was looking at this chart. For 5 months, I was getting wrecked. The comments, Telegram messages. You see this arrow? I got 2 death threats. I woke up to my shock, abuse, violence. Now I know for next time, when I get death threats, even though I'm already super hard, I'm going to go even harder. We're not going to pull out, friends, raw. Because, pop, look what happens. Smack from that death threat point, bang, plus 131%. What does that mean? That means instead of giving me a death threat, if those gentle sirs converted into more eHEX, they would have 2.3 times more pHEX up here. 130%. Do you know how long you need to wait in HEX to get plus 2x? Over like 5 or 6 years. That's crazy, man. You could have got it if you just weren't a little soy boy, little bitch. You could have got it in 105 days instead of sending me a death threat. History is repeating again. So I've told you, for 5 months, I copped countless messages. Friends, you don't understand. I was every single day, bang, bang, bang. I was reading messages, people who didn't watch the videos that you like, subscribe, belly button, and all to. I said many times, 1, don't go all in. I said 2, it's a range. I'm waiting until December 2025. I'm willing to wait 2.5 years. I didn't know it was going to have such a vicious snapback in like 100 days, right? So it didn't matter. People coming in with the comments, but these comments, instead of getting angry, you use them as information. They are people's emotional cry. So these people sold the lows. We saw that. They capitulated. They sold eHEX into pHEX, the lows, and now they got absolutely destroyed. So, you know, they were looking at the chart and they got wrecked. But what they didn't know, when I inverted it, this is what they were actually doing. They were buying a top. They did not know that. They were just buying a top. They thought, no, I'm buying into this. This thing's gone to zero. No, you're buying the top of a range. If you just were able to think and look at the chart objectively, you'd be able to see that. Now, we are moving into Pulse and HEX. This is interesting, right? So look at this. I literally got messages. Look at this. Check this out. At the bottom here. No one told you to sell your pHEX for eHEX. Cope. So I was telling everybody, eHEX is still cheap. eHEX is still cheap. They say cope. And you all got embarrassed. Thank you very much. Now we move on. Now this is why, look, I'm just being honest, friends. Most people, you're better off when you're doing with these ratios in the ecosystem, just get an even split of all of them and don't even play this game. This is my forte, okay? I love doing this. If you even go to my Twitter, my pinned tweet from December 2021, all of this refers to ratio tradings. Well, what's ratio trading? It goes, well, maybe your coin has done like a 5x versus Ethereum. Rotate into Ethereum. You're collecting more ETH for the long term. What do you want to be your long-term core plate? If you want super low risk, people choose Bitcoin. People are just trying to make more BTC. That's ratio trading. That's collecting more BTC's ratio trading. That's what you're doing. You want to outperform Bitcoin. You want to deploy 1 Bitcoin. You want to try and make 4.5 back. You want to get it back. You go, yay. See? If you want to go down the risk curve, you want Ethereum. You want to go down the risk curve along that, I'll use Chainlink in here. There are some people, they want to collect more HEX. So that's what they'll probably be doing in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. When they participate in meme coins here and there, they'll probably think about, okay, I want to rotate into more HEX. That's what people are going to do because they like the staking ladder. They like earning more yield. It's just a different way to approach things. And it's not just a different way. It's the professionals, friend. Look, a trader for 10 plus years. Look, I know how these guys are thinking. They're not thinking, oh, look at the US dollar chart. They want to see where everything lines up versus everything else. Just like how we look at crypto, it's 1 trillion versus the stock market, 120 trillion. That's a spread. You think that spread's going to close, don't you? Well, that's why you're bullish. Now you know, okay, what do you think is going to happen? Stocks drop 90% or crypto rallies 10%? You know, rallies 10x. It's clear which leg that we're playing on here. So I've received a lot of messages, and this is actually information. Now, this is the HEX PLS chart. That's good. So I've made my portfolio update just to remind you. I have this. If I was to start today, I would have 67% in Pulse and pHEX, and I would have 33% in the hexes. You choose the ratio. I'm not going to go through that. That battle's done. That's old season, friends. So the goal here is if this eventually one day at some point, could be in the next 2 years, trades up there, you've made plus 100% more hex. That's a 2x. It's a 2x. So I know a lot of people, you're going to wreck this. You're not going to do it properly. So I'm just telling you, this is what I do. I'm passionate about doing these. I like finding these opportunities here and there. Most people, not going to do it right, okay? So look at this. I got a message today. No one told you to sell your hex for Pulse days ago, dude. So days ago. Days, bro. I mean, this is a 2-year thing. 2 years, days. It still baffles me. People are still on daily charts. Get off the daily charts, man. You're going to get wrecked. Now, let's move on. The new season battle. It might be Pulse and Hex. Pulse versus Hex. Last season's battle was eHEX and pHEX. You know, it's just they're ranges, man. They're ranges. This is what happens. So, got to remind you, yes, I got 2 death threats, and that marked the eHEX lows before the vicious snapback victory. And man, that's why this game is not for everybody, friends. 99% of the time. So for 5 months, every single day, 150 days, I am spat on, abused, called a scammer, fraud, making everyone lose their money, irresponsible, gambler, all the labels you can think of, and death threats too. All of these. Okay, they even question how fluffy my slippers were. Now it's personal. But then I get 2 days of glory in the snapback. 2 days. That's all you get. Just 2 days. Bang, see you later. And then that's it. Back to, okay, what do we do now? See, some people go like, okay, what's next? Well, now you got to go to the hated thing again. That's why it's really hard. Mentally, it taxes a lot of people. They're like, wait a minute. You mean we don't win forever? No. It's a pendulum and it swings. That's what happens, right? Things go too high, things go too low. This also upset a lot of people. Richard Hart thinks Ethereum will flip Bitcoin. This is true, by the way. I'm not making this up. I made many videos before these. 5 to 6 months ago, you're going to need some angel music just to calm you down. Before Pulse Chain launched, even if we go up here, before Pulse Chain launched, friends, I was speculating on testnet version 3. I made videos. I said, well, actually, it was down here, by the way. I was speculating a long time ago. And I was saying, well, maybe Pulse is like Ethereum and HEX is like Bitcoin. So that means Pulse versus HEX will have a good value and strong, and it will eventually, over the cycle, go up. Also, repeat points. Richard Hart said HEX is a better Bitcoin, Pulse is a better Ethereum. And he's also said many times, I've made many tweets, many Twitter spaces, he's mentioned, he strongly believes, he knows Ethereum will flip Bitcoin one day. He's very confident of that. So you just got to deduce, what does that mean, okay? Look at this. You got to dig deeper, friends. This is what it is. It means that layer 1 chains will store an increasingly more value than the value stored on Bitcoin. Do you see that? So all the collective mindsets of people in the cities, that total dollar, even though it might be higher volatility and uncertain, but that total dollar one day will be bigger than what they're stored in HEX. Okay. Now, does this happen in the real world? Yes. Yes, it does. The stock market has 120 trillion of value. Gold has 11 trillion. You see that? Now, you might go to an individual company and say, but Apple is smaller than gold. Yes. But what about America? The collective mindset of the market for America is, I think, 25 to 35 trillion, maybe 40 trillion market cap. Think about that. And there's only 10 trillion total gold. So America, you can think of it as like one big city. America stores more value in stocks than gold. So that's just dollar for dollar. Now, you might say, okay, but gold's bigger than all of them individually. Yes, but the collective mindset, that's just something to think about, how it works in the real world. But here's the thing. The stock market can drop 70%. It can drop 50%. You got to get rescued. Gold doesn't. So that's the risk, right? You think about, okay, if I'm going to be here long term, maybe it just makes sense to get half and half. Okay, that's just something to think about. You also have this HEX and the staking ladder. Now, just got to repeat. So he did say HEX is a better Bitcoin, Pulse Chain's a better Ethereum, of course. But I want you to know, friends, look, just to tell you right now, firstly, not only have I been saying this for a long time, but I'm making more videos now because I'm telling you, not only have I known this, but now is the time to strike. I'm seeing capitulations in here. I'm not seeing people talk about Pulse and PLSX anymore. It's now looked at as normal to poop all over PLSX and Pulse, and that's what you want to see. Isn't that what you want to see? Everybody became an eHEX maxi overnight. Why? Because of green candles? Good, it's great, but look what you're doing to yourself. You're chasing the green candle, right? Now, that's something to think about. And remember, I've done all this. I don't have to talk about Alex, the eHEX whale. I don't have to talk about BankX. It doesn't even really matter, man. I'm just telling you right now. How many times I made you videos? Told you, Cycle 1 coins versus Cycle 2. Layer 1 chain versus Layer 0. Layer 1 chains can be upgraded. You can't upgrade HEX. Okay, so that means not only can you make good upgrades, you can make bad upgrades, right? So Pulse Chain will have more downside volatility. That's why the ratio trades around. And I have in this boxy buying. I've had to write it in big letters, but I guarantee you, if this thing goes down, people are still going to make the posts. Oh, you sold everything. No, I didn't sell everything. It's just a ratio. We're shifting weights. I'm happy to collect more. Give it to me. Give it to me. Just like I was happy to collect eHEX down here. Telling you right now, I'm happy to collect it. Now, don't follow me if you don't know what you're doing. I just like this as a better way to earn yield, personally. Because, one, there's no leverage. And two, by the way, PulseX yield, I'm talking about like exploring other chains and other altcoins. I like this because like if you're super bullish on HEX and you get a plus 100% on this, well, guess what? That 10x that everyone's sitting on? Well, you'd be up at 20x because that's a plus 100%. Now, it's not the end of the world. That's not the best thing either because if Chainlink's going to hit my target, that's plus 600% against Ethereum. So ETH guys might be up at 2x, Chainlink's up 12. That's like an enormous difference. But this is, you have an advantage here. We're psychologically bonded. Also, my top comment here, I'm going to make another video. Richard Hart is his own words, okay? Like, this upset a lot of people in the threads. We can go through the thread. I said, Richard Hart thinks Pulse Chain is better than HEX. It was by deductive reasoning, all right? Deductive reasoning. Hey, you know what's funny? The same people who told me that Richard Hart thinks pHEX is better than eHEX, the same people, when eHEX was getting pooped on down here, they are now telling me that Richard Hart doesn't think Pulse Chain's better than HEX. I mean, that's weird. I think you're a bit biased there. Why? Of course, because they did the wrong move and they know it, okay? They were just look, they're bearish at the lows and they're bullish at the tops. That's what it is. So easily, if you say HEX is a better Bitcoin and then Ethereum is better than Bitcoin and Ethereum will flip Bitcoin by deductive reasoning, you're saying, wait a minute. That means Pulse Chain is better than ETH. But look, saying the word better doesn't really mean better. Think about it. What's better for you? That's why I'm here to tell you. These are just ratios moving around. Here is go.hex.com. You click on the stake section. This might save you way more than anything else. Putting a ladder, you look into the future, you go, all right, maybe I want to have staggered releases, like every month coming out, etc., etc. This thing will align you more with winning rather than ratio trading because I'm really disappointed. The amount of people who obliterated themselves down here, wow. Emergency end staking, capitulating, going out, huge FUD. Oh my gosh. People going out making targeted videos against me, saying eHEX is weighing down the whole thing. What did I tell you? I told you at the arrow. I told you as I was getting the death threats. I made videos. You can go back and watch them. I said, be careful, pHEX copers. The same arguments that you say about eHEX, how eHEX is weighing everyone down and it's useless and Richard doesn't like it. The same arguments you say, well, you've got three fingers pointing back at yourself because Pulse and PLSX people are going to do the exact same thing as you. Because I guarantee the gatekeeping won't be as cruel on Pulse and PLSX because everybody understands Ethereum. Okay, layer 1 chain, sweet. All right, Pulse chain, just another layer 1, alt layer 1. There are other things like it. You understand? It's hard for people to grasp why is HEX a better Bitcoin. Okay, so there's less friction when it comes there. I said this from day one. I said this as I was collecting more eHEX. But now just the ratio has gone too much. You could have collected the ratio down there. It's just it's been enough time now. This is what I like. So all these half truths, this and that, doesn't really matter, friends. Look, we use deductive reasoning, okay? I just think from here, from today's price, Pulse has more upside than HEX. That's it. It depends where you get in. I like the prices now, and that's it. I've shifted my ratios. You don't have to do anything. You're coming in. Look, I'm just being completely honest with you. I'm just 100%. After I saw everyone's negative reactions, I'm like, okay, sweet. I would just go straight Pulse and PulseX. That's just me. That's just me. You can do what you want. I wouldn't shift the ratios. Don't sell anything. I'm just saying if you have new bullets coming in, let's say you got $100 coming in, I will do $50 Pulse, $50 PulseX. I wouldn't even touch the eHEX. I wouldn't even touch hexes at this point. That's just because of the crowd sentiment. All right. Now, the deviation, as I went through it, the deviation is not going to be that big. Remember, other coins deal with huge minus 80%, plus 600% swings, okay? All of this stems for potential ETH BTC. I've made many videos and posts before Pulse Chain launch showing that Pulse and PulseX, so pHEX might mimic ETH BTC. And that's exactly what it seems to be doing. During the capitulations, which is what you see in this chart, friends. During the capitulation, see these red candles? See all this thing going down here? This is risk off. Okay, so let me tell you, this is risk off. Yes. Now, what do you think is going to happen when risk on appears? Bitcoin higher, Ethereum higher, ETH BTC higher, more yield coming up, Fed's pivoting of sorts. You know what I mean? Risk on. Do you think people are going to keep buying HEX or Pulse? Well, obviously, this is what the whole bet is. Okay, the whole bet is at some point, I think risk on will mean people will come in hungrier for Pulse and PulseX because there'll be more ecosystems to participate in on the Pulse chain. But now, so that's all we're doing here. We're looking at ratios, right? So ETH BTC has dropped for this fourth quarter, which is super important to know. And I've got it right here. We're watching this. We're literally watching this real time. Look at it. It's actually fascinating, right? So look at this. We launched. Look at this. This is wild, right? So Pulse Chain launches here, and then it goes down. And ETH BTC has also been going down since Pulse Chain's launch in May. Isn't that crazy? They've both been dropping. ETH BTC and Pulse to HEX. Want to remind you, when does ETH BTC usually go up? In the Bitcoin halving year, it starts going up January, February, just the first quarter of the Bitcoin halving year. Did it here? This was the crash, and it started going up. So maybe, just speculating, don't know. We cranked 2024, and we just start going up. That's just my guess, which means you got to be getting in the red candles now because they're so thin, and you might miss out opportunity. It might make you wait too long. I am going to keep accumulating. I don't care. Keep going down. Keep making memes. Keep sending death threats. I don't really give a shit. There will be more months to accumulate. Maybe in November, maybe December. It's going to be a while to take itself out, to battle through, get everybody tricked. So don't forget, please, the eHEX pHEX battle was very tough to sit through. Don't go all in on anything. If you couldn't make it, I know many people can't. It's mentally, it's tough. I know it's tough. A lot of people, I felt this with eHEX and pHEX. Many people, okay? The best thing to do is the HEX stake. You will prevent yourself from early capitulation. Pulse, PulseX, and HEX, they are all undervalued gems. They are all undervalued, but I'm not going to sit here and be quiet. Like, you want them? I'm telling you, that's why you watch me. Highest value content. I'm telling you, hey, man, everyone gets really angry when I point this out. Okay? When I was saying, this is the cruel part. I've realized when I was saying that Pulse and PulseX are cycle 1 coins when HEX was 10 to 11 cents. Everybody was over the moon. We all were. But now you saw that the value sucked out of HEX and it permanently went to Pulse and PulseX, diluted away. Now everyone is like, ugh, they're sweating bullets. They know because they're like, ah, crap, because we're so low. I know the feeling. I know it hurts, man. It hurts. Well, look, man, Bitcoin guys hate it too. Do you think Bitcoin people like the fact that ETH has been gaining on it? They can't look at it. You get banned, friends. You literally get a pitchfork in the eye if you go there. They will threaten to burn your fluffy slippers right in front of you, okay? So, ETH BTC has been going up. They don't like that, right? I got to also, strict and strong reminder. ETH BTC in its first cycle is not what we are following. So don't think you're going to make a nice 4,000% return on your HEX. No. We are ETH BTC today. Unfortunately, there's no free lunch. We are pricing it as ETH BTC today. See how there's lower volatility in ETH BTC? There might be a teleport up in the range. So wouldn't it be nice? You know who was able to get here, friends? This was the Pulse sacrifices. The people who sacrificed for Pulse, right? Our Pulse sacrificed for Pulse as well, but all those people put their HEX in, they were getting the cheap ratios. That's why I think I forgot the ratios, like 500 Pulse or 1,000 Pulse or 2,000 Pulse per HEX, whatever it was. I forgot the number, but we are not in that land anyway, anymore. So we are still continuing. I mean, I'm still bullish. If you're bullish on crypto, you're bullish on ETH BTC, whether you like it or not. And I've got to do a fifth reminder for you. Look at this box, buying. It does not say I went all in. It does not say I did 100% of the ratio. It does not say I'm too scared to buy lower. It's a big fat rectangle and it's buying. You get that? You do get that. That's why you're my friend. Now, before I check the comments, friends, I want you to know something. Whenever I do these, I promise you from the bottom of my heart, if I see a lot of people agreeing with me, I know we're all about to get wrecked. All right? I want to see disagreements. That's how you know. People are getting tested to the wits' ends, okay? This is how the game works, man. It's how the game works. I don't make the rules. This is how it works. Speculation. Up and down, mispricing, underpricing, overpricing, okay? First comment is from Mr. Abit. We love Mr. Abit. He's saying, I've never heard Richard Hart saying he is more bullish on Pulse versus HEX. But, you know, as I explained in this video, it's by deductive reasoning, okay? It says, I also cannot agree with the comparison ETH flips BTC equals Pulse flips HEX due to layer 1 outperforming store values. Okay, but also, friends, remember, everyone's talking their book. So a bit is 60% stacked in HEX, and he started in HEX, right? Don't forget, friends, like, look, I'm just telling you right now, go to the Bitcoin community and tell them, you know, ETH's going to flip it one day. They go, no, Ethereum is not pure money. Bitcoin is pure money, man. But yeah, but you bought your Bitcoin at $350. These people got to buy it at $30,000. You're dumping on them through the miners, the Chinese miners, okay? But it's the same thing with HEX. New people coming in, they go, you know what? I don't like being dumped on 10 to 15% inflation, and I don't like those big 10-year stakes coming out. No, friends, this is what people are talking about in the chat rooms, in the backgrounds, in everywhere. They're not saying, golly gee, everything's great. That's the real concerns of all of these out here. But are they imaginary horribles? It doesn't really matter. It's how people perceive these. Also, got to remember, this is so fascinating because we're just going through it. So Mr. Abit as well said, please invert the chart. So what he's doing is he's drawing this chart, which is, I know, I'm glad we already went through this in the video. This was the pHEX to eHEX chart, wasn't it? It was the same thing. Everyone's like, look at this, man. They're saying, look at this. You've never seen more strength in your life. Pulse HEX, so pHEX is just crushing eHEX. There's no reason for it. Look at this. Everything's great. Uptrending, going up. Look at this. Fantastic. Of course, you know what happens next, though. So you see that? So this chart, no one was charting it, okay? I was charting it. I was saying, hey, everybody selling your eHEX. What you don't know is you think you're like exiting out of danger, but no, you're buying the big top of a range. You got to be careful. And then look, the market snapped back and just took 2 days. 2-3 days, there you go, snap back after 5 months. So also Mr. Abit goes through things like, you know, the T-share system and everything. So he's talking about the ratios here. So he's basically said if we get to the 70, so he's talking about basically if we get back to break even. So look, what Abit said is he goes, if we get a certain ratio number, then he's just basically going to go all in. And he's going to remove all his Pulse and PulseX. But it's not that complicated, friends. I mean, that's my target. Let's literally, if we did this, okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this sideways. I'm going to do this sideways for a year, even though people are still going to quote it the other way. If we eventually just went up to here, this was his point here, around his point here. He said, I mean, that's it. I'm selling everything. Basically saying I'm selling all my Pulse and PulseX. I'm going to get back HEX. But yeah, but that's the target. That's actually pretty good, you know. That's the same thing here. That's a range, isn't it? Doesn't look like a big fat range, fans. Yay, we're going up, we're going down. Maybe that's just what happens over time. That's actually what we want. We're so benefited here because everybody else out there does not have the advantage of the same founder, the same community and ecosystems. They've actually got to take real risk, real divergence risk about different communities going up and down. So, got to clarify as well, you don't have to participate in anything. I'm doing it. I want someone to show me, all right, this is one idea I have. I got the other one right. Doesn't mean I get this one right. No, I'm not saying that. And there's no gloating. There's no nothing. But I'll just tell you right now, I'm willing to collect. I've seen enough. And why I'm even more confident on myself is because I said this would happen before launch. But now that it's here, the ratios are so stretched. I'm like, man, I got to act. I really got to act. It's just screaming. It just might take some time. Make sure you like, subscribe, belly button, all friends. We've got more to go. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Tell mom and dad we're not going to go all in. Manage your risk and then everything else will look after itself for you. Catch you soon.